Hello writers, come write with me. My name is Mykela Greenwood. I create worlds for mind adventures. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Write with Mykela. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you can go on this journey with me. Today is the 21st of November, so leave a comment on how many words you have for the NaNoWriMo challenge. You can state words per day or the total so far. If you wrote for the challenge before watching today's video, you should have around 35,000 words, or precisely 35,007 words. If you have 33 to 34,000, then you're still on track. We are getting close to the end of the month and close to our 50,000. So pat yourself on the back. I bet you didn't know that you could do so much. And here you are, so close to the end and so close to your 50,000. So congratulations on that. And let's just keep going to get our 50,000. Today is also Tuesday. And today we are going to talk about dangling modifiers. And we will touch on antonyms. A dangling modifier is a word or phrase that modifies a word not clearly stated in the sentence. A modifier describes, clarifies, or gives more details about a concept. Modifier sounds a lot like an adjective or an adverb. Let's revisit what those definitions are. An adjective is simply something that describes or modifies a noun. It can be a word or a phrase. Now for adverbs. Adverbs are words or phrases that modifies or qualifies an adjective, verb, or other adverb or a word group, which informs about an action or quality, like how, where, when, in what way, to what extent, etc. Or in other words, it expresses a relation of place, time, circumstance, manner, cause, degree, etc. So, we are modifying something. So that's the modifier part of the dangling modifiers. But that something that we're modifying is not in the sentence. And dangling modifiers frequently contain verbs ending in ing or begin with the word to. Let's give an example in order to clear things up. Walking through the kitchen, the smoke alarm was going off. In that sentence, it sounds like the smoke alarm is walking through the kitchen. And we've talked about personification, but I don't think that is what we have here, or what we want here. So to fix this, we would say something like, while Anne was walking through the kitchen, the smoke alarm was going off. The fix is similar to the fix we did for passive voice with unknown actors. And I told you that would be easier to fix passive voice once you were in the story, because you would know what noun to supply. So here we are supplying, in that case it was a noun that we supplied. I supplied Anne. So that was our noun to supply. So now we have something to modify, because before walking through the kitchen was modifying something or telling us about something, but we didn't know who or what. Now, just to give a little bit more definition, we will also define a participle, since many dangling modifiers are actually dangling participles. A participle is a word formed from a verb and used as an adjective. An example is the word work. We change that to working for a working woman. So now it's modifying the noun. That's what makes it the adjective or the participle. Now, in the above sentence, before the fix, we had walking as the participle. But it didn't modify a noun. The noun was missing. We changed the sentence actually to include a phrase. This may not be fun stuff, like passive voice wasn't fun, but once we removed passive voice from our stories became more active or action-filled. Dangling modifiers make our stories less clear. So fixing them will clear things up for the readers. Now, I'm going to give you a few sentences and I want you to fix them so that they don't have a dangling modifier or a dangling participle. I will post the sentences below the video and then I will also post the ones that I fix. So, the first sentence. Driving like a maniac, the deer was hit and killed. Number 2. To be excused from class, a doctor's note is required. 3. Turning the corner, a handsome courthouse building appeared. 4. Changing his diaper, the baby was glad to be clean. 5. Having read the book, the film will be a hit. 6. Aware of the risk, the job was abandoned. 7. Having lost the job, the house had to be sold. 8. Helping the lady find her children, the train left the station. 9. After reading the book, the movie made more sense. 10. Having read the story, the book was returned to the library. Okay, writers, some of these sentences, you're just kind of like, okay, what's going on here? The sentences are not clear at all. So let's fix these sentences. I hope you also noticed that many of these also had passive voice. So we will fix both issues. Pause the video, fix the sentences, and come back and I'll read how I fixed them. Welcome back, writers. Let's look at how I fixed the sentences. So, number 1, driving like a maniac, Joe hit and killed the deer. This time I left the phrase and I just added a subject. So it was fairly easy to fix. And now we know that the deer didn't drive and kill itself or whatever. Okay, number 2, for the school to excuse Johnny from class, we require a doctor's note. And that sentence we're assuming the we is person speaking for the whole school kind of thing. Number 3, turning the corner, I saw a handsome courthouse building appear before me. Number 4, after having his diaper changed, the baby was glad to be clean. Number 5, having read the book, I know the film will be a hit. Number 6, aware of the risk, the managers abandoned the job. Number 7, when Casey lost her job, she had to sell her house. Number 8, while helping the lady find her children, I saw the train leave the station. Number 9, after I read the book, the movie made more sense to me. Number 10, having read the story, Susie returned the book to the library. Like I said, I will post the corrected sentences below the video as well, so you can compare before the fix and after the fix, and you can see how clear the sentences now has become. Okay. Now, dangling modifiers aren't your only worry. There are also misplaced modifiers and squinting modifiers, also called ambiguous modifiers or two-way modifiers. So squinting modifiers has two names. Misplaced modifiers are a phrase or clause placed in an awkward position in the sentence or too far from the word or words it or they modify, such that it appears to modify or refer to an unintended word. An example of this would be, she wore a bicycle helmet on her head that was too large. So, in this sentence, it sounds like her head is too large. We would fix this by moving the phrase was too large closer to the bicycle helmet. The new sentence is, she wore a bicycle helmet that was too large on her head. That makes more sense. The other sentence was a bit humorous. You can imagine a big head on this girl that's biking. Here is another example. The dog paid no attention to his owner while he was chewing on a bone. Is the owner chewing on the bone? I think not. So we have to move the phrase. We can move it to the beginning, and it will read, while chewing on his bone, the dog paid no attention to his owner. Unlike dangling modifiers, a sentence that includes a misplaced modifier already provides all the necessary information, just in the wrong order. This means that when a misplaced modifier causes confusion, it's usually easy to fix. Some of the most common misplaced modifiers are just, only, nearly. An example is visitors wearing only name tags will be granted access. When you think about that, it is quite hilarious. So only wear the name tag, nothing else, you get access. Let's fix this, since we don't want to speak like that. So we're going to fix it to, we will grant access only to visitors wearing name tags. Now the only is modifying the visitors and not only the name badges. Let's touch on squinting modifiers. This can be hilarious too. A squinting modifier is a word that describes something, but it is out of place. It is out of place because it could modify a word or phrase that comes before it or after it. Squinting modifiers are a type of misplaced modifiers, and they can change the meaning of sentences. An example is, cycling up hills quickly strengthens your quadriceps. So, what is quickly for? Now, I could read that a little bit different. Let me give me a little different stress so you can kind of see. Cycling uphill quickly strengthens your quadriceps. So, is the quickly for up hills or for strengthening your quadriceps? You need to be clear on which one it's for. It could be for either. I mean, if you're cycling uphill, even if you're not going fast, that could quickly strengthen your muscles. And if you're cycling quickly up hills, which is pretty hard, then that will strengthen your quadriceps. But we don't know what the quickly is for, if we're cycling quickly or we're strengthening quickly. Another example is, the band director told us strictly to count beats. The question here is, did the band director tell us strictly or ask us to count strictly? We want to be clear. We want our readers to understand what we mean. When we're writing our stories, we don't want these kinds of questions going on. We want our readers to understand. I know that's a lot, but I'm going to round out today with antonyms. An antonym is a word of opposite meaning. Simple examples are hot and cold, tall and short, hard and soft, fast and slow. These are awesome words. Sometimes when you're describing something, it it actually might be easier to use an antonym of what something is not than what something is. An example would be, the ice was colder than the hottest fire was hot. So I'm comparing the extremes here. Also, you could use an antonym to contrast certain things. Microsoft Word will sometimes give you antonyms, but sometimes not. And of course, not all words have an antonym. An example would be fingers and toes. Now, if you use those as antonyms, people might understand you meant the extremities or top and bottom, but they might not understand that comparison or those as opposites. We want our writing to be clear. So in that case, you might want to choose something else, start and finish or something like that, unless you didn't really want the words that had opposite meanings. So if you don't want the words that mean opposite, you can use whatever words. But if you're looking for opposite, you might want something that is actually opposite. Okay, like I said, it was a little bitty piece for antonyms. So leave a comment below on how many words you wrote for NaNoWriMo Challenge, or leave a sentence with a dangling or misplaced modifier. If you could just come up with something. Or if you've read something, you can, well, if you've read a sentence that confused you, you can leave that in there. There was a farmer who had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Is Bingo the farmer's name? Or the dog's name? Now, I grew up, I thought it was, of course, the dog's name, because I couldn't think of anybody that I knew that was named Bingo. But there was a farmer, and you're talking now about the farmer, who had a dog, and Bingo was his name. So the things in that sentence should be about the farmer. So both the dog and the name should be about the farmer. You don't start a sentence with a subject, the farmer, and then have the dog, and then start modifying the dog. So you see, that's kind of unclear, but we sang that song as kids and we didn't question anything. So if you can think of something like that, a dangling modifier or misplaced modifier, that one was, I think, misplaced modifier, then leave that in the comment below. Leave a comment on if you remember about passive voice. If you don't remember, you could go back and rewatch season 1, episode 17. That was a long time ago. So if you don't remember, don't feel badly. But it's something that we need to watch for. And I also showed you how to set up your Microsoft Word document to kind of blue underline it so you can catch it too. Join me Friday for story time. We will read Tahia, chapter 16, Elphinton. Join me Tuesday for writing prompt. We are going to add to your cave. I have two thoughts about what to add. One is more for the cave, because on my cave, I don't know what you wrote, but I'll be happy to read them. My cave, she was kind of going down the tunnel, and she's going to see what she could find. And so she still had more to explore in that cave, and she hadn't found a way out yet. And the second thought is to check in with the team and see what they think and what they plan to do next. So, they each had missions in my cave. I don't know about your cave. They each had a mission to do something, and they weren't really told anything about each other's mission. So other people could have been trying to get into that fortress when those lights started flashing and everything. So they may have had to abandon their job as well, and maybe they left out a different way and they didn't see her. So maybe they're gathered back together and they're like, oh, what happened? And they can find out, or they can guess what happened. And I think what happened is the robot could only be cut off for a certain length of time, and then he cut back on, and then he started the cameras again. So and they didn't know that about the robot, the automatic restart. So I don't know which one I'm going to do. Maybe we could do both. It wouldn't take too long to write on both those things. But we'll see about writing and adding to your cave. I'll have to figure out how to phrase that so that it's more universal and you can use it, so we can see what to do with our caves. Don't forget to visit my website, bymykela.com, and read some character bios. If you hit like and subscribe and the bell notification, then we will continue to write together. This is fun. I'm enjoying this. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your participation. If you know someone who would like this video, then please share it with them. This is Mykela with Write with Mykela. Bye for now.